Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny Five Alive here, and welcome to a Candyland Let's Build. This is the it's a more terraforming episode, and this is a Chant episode. Chant and Web Searcher are joined with me.
Hi.
Hey, I just want to make certain you all understand. Chant is the one who did all this work. I'm along for the ride.
Yep, this Chant's dedicated to this. What did I just say? This episode is dedicated to Chant. It's more terraforming, like you guys saw in the very first episode, and we just wanted to continue that a little bit. So stay tuned and let's check it out. All right. So before I started getting onto Fairground Farms, Chant wanted to go back and touch up some stuff, do a little bit of expansion here and there, clean it up, and because that happened before I was able to work on Fairground Farms, it only makes sense to show that off now in case you guys get glimpses of it and see a little bit of it in my actual Let's Build. So after this episode here, you will actually see me putting the Fairground Farms together, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah, we just wanted to kind of get this last bit of terraforming out of the way. Chant is doing a lot of really nice detailing, about 9 hours worth here, and we've crunched it down at 12 times speed, so it's going a lot faster than normal, but with terrain painting, it's a little bit tedious and time consuming, and at 12 times speed, it should just look like it's going rather smoothly, and that way you guys get 9 hours of hard work from Chant here in only a 20-minute video. So this is really cool what you're doing here. We showed this off in episode 1 if you guys didn't see that. Chant has this neat little technique she does where what's the option called?
It's so your terraform will collide with items. You want it on.
Yeah. So you're trying that with a big cupcake, and then I think you realized, oh, it's too big.
Yeah, I hit the cap for the terrain, so I had to shrink it down the cupcake size.
Oh, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
Well, I actually prefer this cupcake size anyways.
I do too. I think it's perfect for him. So.
Yeah, it looks really, really good.
It always amazes me how much trial and error you go through when you're building Chant.
Yeah.
You've got incredible patience.
I'm a perfectionist, especially when it comes to the terrain work.
Yeah, see, the terrain work is a really tedious thing in my opinion, where I have the tendencies of perfectionism too when I'm working on certain things, but the terrain is just something that I struggle with. Like, I did a little bit in the next episode you guys will see. I did some hills and stuff, but it's nowhere near what Chant has done, and I probably spent a couple hours on it, and I was like, I'm over this. I did a river and 4 hills. they're really smooth, but like it's not a cupcake or anything crazy like that. And I was already kind of like, oh boy, doing big sweeping things that you're doing just boggles my mind, because when I opened it up I was like, wow, there's a lot of really, really good changes here, and you guys will see it all in real time at the end of this video. I just go through and show off all the stuff, and you did see what it was looking like in episode 1, so you can kind of do a little bit of a comparison here and see all the new improvements. First glance, when I opened it up, I was like, this is really good. I didn't really realize that it was 9 hours of really good. And it just goes to show like how time-consuming terrain work really, really is. So you add in all these details, what was done before. I don't know, how long did you spend on the initial terrain?
The initial terrain for the whole map?
Yeah.
Not that long. Less than 9 hours, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's these smaller details that take up the time.
That first episode was probably about a half an hour, but at 8 times speed. So it was, probably 6 hours, right? Around there?
Yeah.
So it's amazing how quickly you block that out, just doing it real fast and dirty, but also creating these really nice scenes and vistas. That just goes to show that we'll probably even need to do more, right? Like as we go into each area.
Yeah, every time I'm going to have to do some more work.
And then I'm probably going to do some as well. Little, mine's going to be tertiary to compare to what you're doing. A couple caves, expanding some terrain a little bit, and anything I mess up I have to repaint to the way it was before. But I know with like Gulpy Island, I have some plans to run the go-kart through certain caves and different things like that. So there's going to be little bits here and there, and as you're going to go place a blueprint down, this area's not big enough, time to expand this ground over here. And next thing you know, you're doing a lot more terrain changes. So, probably expect another 20 plus hours at least throughout the whole thing. And then you're looking at Licorice Lane with the coaster designers going in there. It's lots of drastic changes. So here, your outlining is absolutely amazing. I actually showed this to Synchros last night. He doesn't understand how you got these lines so straight. Do you have a technique for that?
Yeah, I kind of do. For this part right here, for example, I'm moving the screen and keeping the mouse still.
Strategy.
So I'm pressing down left click and painting, but then I'm just moving the screen across, and that really helps.
You also have to rotate a little bit here and there because the cake is round.
Yeah,
so
I do.
It's almost like the pottery thing. You're spinning it.
Yeah.
And leaving your finger in one spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So Chant, I wanted to ask you a quick question. When you use your form boxes, that's more like something you do only when you're starting to get into details, right? In other words, when you started laying out the park originally, you didn't use form boxes, did you?
The molds that I use?
Yeah.
She did for the...
I did for the ice cream and then the big round blob guy. But those were pretty easy. Those were just domes.
But that's the only way to get a perfect sphere. Otherwise, you're just pulling
really
your hair out.
Yeah, it's just so clean, really efficient, very quick to do it that way.
I kind of wish I knew that going into Yeti Land, because those guys were basically built off of spheres, and I basically did it by hand. And I could have just made a sphere and worked from that. But did they have that? Is that a newer feature, or was that in vanilla?
It was probably in vanilla.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. I only started using it. I think I started with Monopoly and the big trains.
How did you find out about it? You just saw the feature and tinkered?
Well, honestly, the moment the terrain collided with an item and I had to go turn off that feature, that's when I knew I could use molds.
I feel like mine was turned off by default, though, because I've never noticed that. It would just go... if I pull the train up, it goes right over an object. So, I don't know why yours was on and mine was off.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
now you're digging out the caves here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of an interior here, right?
Yes, for the main attraction to go through and the coaster or just some shops and things.
Yeah, and I'm still curious how this is going to shape up. Is it deep enough as is the way it is? We do have some nice cinematic shots going through, but I was really looking closely at it last night with Synchros because he's likely going to be doing our coaster here. And I was thinking, okay, your walls are still very thick between the cake and the interior, so we can expand this a little bit more. But
you sure can.
Yeah, you got to be careful because then the light will actually seep through because there's that... luminescent if it's thin enough, it'll show through, it'll glow, right?
Yeah.
So you just gotta, we have a little bit of wriggle room in the inside to expand it bigger. Then we have the princess to think about, her, where she's gonna nestle in.
As long as the front of the cake doesn't get damaged.
That was my issue in building the cave. I was like, don't mess up the exterior.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of room in there, and if you think about it, how small the coasters are compared to this big terrain sculpture, I think there's probably plenty of room inside already. But we can definitely do more.
Yeah, we were looking at that, and to get a coaster to wrap around that cake, it'd end up being a very boring coaster with only one long left turn. And,
and it would distract from the cake, wrapping a coaster outside of it.
But if you do it with no collision, it's just like a cart just going along the cake. It looks kind of cool, actually. So,
I could see it in certain portions of the cake, as long as it's, it kept limited.
Yeah, there's certain challenges that we're gonna have to look at there, but I don't think wrapping it all the way around spiraling it's the best idea. We got to find ways to exit the cake, come back to the cake, and only kind of arc around a quarter of it or half of it. It's interesting. It's a big cake, but it's definitely like a landmark. And so far we're getting a lot of really good landmarks from what Chant has done here with the ice cream mountain, the cake, the little gulpy volcano that you guys are seeing here. There's a lot of really good landmarks, and I think for me, any good park or any good video game is all about landmarks. Being able to tell where you are in an area and where you want to go next. You see a landmark, you go, I want to go over there. So these landmarks are pretty vital to making this look really cool. And what you're doing here with Gulpy Island is really fun. It's like a big gummy splash.
It is. It's splattered all over the place.
I like what you're doing here. I don't know if you planned that for me or what you decided for that, but that's a perfect little archway for a go-kart to go through. I don't know what you were thinking when you did that, but when I saw it, I was like, I'm using this. What was your thought process there?
I was thinking about that, and I was also thinking it just needed something. It was a little boring on that side, so
and
added some of them.
Through all this work you were doing, you didn't realize this, but I showed you later that you have some natural cave formations underneath this island that you didn't know about. And
Nope.
It just happened from you building it up and digging in. And I found these really cool coves that the light seeps in, and there's actually beaches in there and water, like just shallow water. And I was like, man, this is gonna be so cool to have a go-kart come out of here. And then there's this nice, like, the cave opens up as you're leaving, and you get this shot of the cake and the beach. It's so amazing. So it's just nice to see these accidental awesome things happen. And and then I can kind of push that further and have fun with it. So it's really cool. And I also like the little touches you did with the I don't know if you'll be showing it in a sec here, but you're doing it with you're layering it. So there's the beach underneath the splash, and then you did a little bit of brown on their edges, and it just kind of makes it look like gummified. It's really cool.
Yeah, brought it to life a bit with all those shading and coloring. I do a lot of coloring in this terrain painting in this episode.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. Let's see here. We're at about 13 minutes here, so got another 10 minutes. You have some little stories. So if you guys were in part of episode 1, we started the thing off with a little skit, and it was kind of fun. So that was the story that Chant was writing for Fairground Farms. And basically our remotion track ride is going to take you from area to area. And while you're on that, there's going to be kind of like a story being read to you. And so while this episode's about sculpting the rest of Cupcake Kingdom and Gulpy Island and a little bit to the Cocoa Bog, well, quite a bit actually.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
While you're finishing up this, you might as well let us know the stories. How about that?
Okay, yeah. Why don't I just start with the next section of the story, which begins with the Cupcake Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get into it. Houses and homes pave the way to the sweet abode of the Cupcake Countess. Made from a sugary duet of cream cheese frosting topping an oven-baked cake, the Countess's humble home is then finally sprinkled with the finest sprinkles. And up to the highest heights above the oven-baked cake sits the Countess's favorite treat, the red velvet cupcake, ever so sweet. As you travel ahead through the maze of Cupcake Kingdom streets, pick up the sweetbreads they've laid out for you, desserts they proudly made and grew. If you see any of Candy Kind sending you lemony looks, be on your guard. They're likely Captain Lockjaw's crooked crooks. Don't let these candy snatchers snatch any of this year's candy crops, or King Candy himself will send you straight to the village stock.
All right.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's a ton of fun. I don't know how you have such good creativity with the writing, but it is wonderful.
She writes well. She draws well. She builds well.
Yep. What can't you do?
Impressive. Yeah.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
I understand, Johnny. She's not the best at driving formula cars.
That's all right. We'll give you a pass. Yeah. Give her a week. I love what you're doing here with the cocoa bog. I actually suggested an idea here where it's like we needed more room in the cocoa bog, I felt, because after seeing how quickly Fairground Farms is going to be filled, it's like this area might be too small. And then I thought, well, why don't you push it over and make that chocolate starting to seep over the mountain of Fairground Farms. And you decided to go ham with that idea. You did like a cocoa waterfall here, and you really made it oozing over the edges. It looks super cool, and it's not overwhelming. It's just like a little hint like, hey, there's a cocoa place over here. And as you're coming into Fairground Farms, it's kind of facing your backside. So it actually doesn't impede on the overall vision or the green, fun feel of it, because it's actually up against a shadowy cliff wall, right, based off the sun direction. So it actually works really, really well there, and it's one of those, again, accidental awesome things, because just we can't really control where the sun's coming from. We set it to, it all just worked out. So really cool.
Yeah, I extended Fairground Farms just a little bit, so we have a little extra room over there if we needed to add anything more, or we can transform that into more of the cocoa bog. So
right.
It's really a flexible area between those two places.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that area and still unsure what to do there. We'll figure it out, though. Yeah, and I think a river rapids going through there would be kind of fun.
Yeah. Okay,
so you got another story for us. I love this
one. Do. The next one is for Gummy Island.
All right.
Okay. Do you hear the island drums drumming, the humbugs humming, and the gumdrops gumming? We've arrived at Gummy Island, and from here to the horizon, everything is made from all things sticky, slushy, prickly, crusty, crummy, and gummy. As Gummy Gulpy himself would say, this island is full of all things yum, yum, yummy. However, there are sour patches that plague the island, turning the nicest of candy kind into the sourest of soured minds. Do not fall prey to these dangerous traps. Follow the paths marked on the island map. While you are here, take an axe, give the trees great big whacks. The stalks will thunder as they fall, but each one bears a great candy haul. Take all that you gather, pile your wagon high. For now, we'll keep busy Captain Lockjaw's little spies.
That was great.
I'm super excited about this, and I guess the idea here with Gummy Island is that it's an island full of gummy bears, and it's run by Gummy Gulpy. So, if you guys look back at what I did with Yetiland, I have a lot of fun when it comes to these little characters, and I've always been that way growing up. Like when I was always doodling in school and stuff, like my favorite thing to do was fill a piece of paper up with a bunch of different characters, like maybe they're like knights fighting over here and a castle up there with like an archer at the top and a dragon's attacking it. That was the kind of stuff that I liked to doodle, or these action posed animated characters. And eventually I ended up going to school and doing animation, and I self-taught myself on animation and became a 3D animator at one point. So I really enjoy animation. And so that's kind of why Yetiland for me was so much fun. So Gummy Island, we could see a lot of gummy bears taking place there, And I already have ideas brewing, like gummy bears on lifesavers floating down the river, and like all sorts of fun little things, and posing these gummy bears. Our Gulpy statue, I might end up tackling that, but having gummy bears crawling all over him. I came up with that idea, and it's like when it comes to like little animated characters, I get really into it. And we have little spoiler, we have this, somebody did those cupcake nights, and I have to say that here. You guys won't see it for a few days, but these cupcake nights got me excited, and I want to do some fun things with those. So whenever it comes to characters and posing characters, it's a super tedious thing, much like terrain sculpting, right? But for you enjoy it, right? And with
super relaxing.
Rotating all these little pieces and getting them into place, it's super tedious, but once you animate them and pose them, the payoff is seeing these still shot animations. And for me, that's super rewarding and worth the little tedious effort gone into it. And that's why with Yetiland, I had over 1,000 posed Yetis. That was it was absurd. So I'm actually looking forward to doing that kind of stuff with Gummy Island here and playing with all those gummy bears. And to note on what you're saying about Captain Lockjaw's prickly I don't know. The prickly, tickly, wiggly troopers. These little guys, the Sour Patch Kids or whatever, the sour gummies, the sour worms, all those little sour candies that, they're not really a part of Gummy Island, but they're more a part of Captain Lockjaw's crew. So we probably will see a little bit of a conflict between them, and I'm thinking I might be able to play around with that. I could be pretty fun, right? You got the Sour Patch Kids battling the gummy bears and pushing them back to the Candy Cove.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want a full-on battle, Johnny.
Yeah, I got the approval.
Yep.
Perfect. And
Sneaky little pirates.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you wouldn't want to see something that like Crazy Johnny would do something like that in Cupcake Kingdom, right? It fits for Gulpy Island. I can get crazy. I can get creative. I can get, chaotic and, war child like.
We're going to have to request it in our next Blueprint Challenge for Gulpy to have sour candies made.
Yep, that's
the
true.
Captain's Sour Candy Friends.
Yeah, we can kind of have a hybrid challenge, I guess, in that case, because I do like the idea of, like, we kind of were covering the Cove and the Gulpy Island at the same time, because there's a lot of crossplay there.
Well, we got to work the story together. So, yeah, you do have to be able to cross some of this extra stuff into your sections, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because the spies are going to be kind of throughout the whole kingdom, are they not?
Yeah, they'll make appearances everywhere, more and more throughout the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's the cinematic shots. We got through Chant's Let's Build already. And you can kind of see it in real time there. That Countess Cupcake looks amazing.
The lights. Oh.
We did announce the challenge already, so no spoiler there. Everybody knows that we've kind of gone with the Countess. And so you've painted and modeled the cake after her.
Yep.
And it looks really, really good. We get a look at the chocolate pouring over into Fairgrounds there. And you also threw in, I guess it must have been happening in the background while we're talking stuff. I didn't quite notice it, but did you include that in the recordings? Did we see that? You built this boat ride.
Yeah, I think that was included.
Yeah, so here's a kind of final look at it. We might change this little spot here. Those two drop-offs are very close together. I'll pull it in a little bit more. But it's very curvy, wavy, and it's that's our version of our transport ride. We're not going to have any trains. And I think this is great because everything is centralized around that cove. And they're all basically islands running around the outskirts of the map. So what better than to have a boat ride? So you did a really good job on this one, Chant. I love this Cocoa Bog Cove here, how the ride goes through. That was my favorite part. So we're going to probably need some people to build us some stations and all sorts of stuff like that. Really cool. So amazing work on the boat ride there, Chant, and as well as all the sculpting that we just saw there. Absolutely amazing.
Happy to do it. I'm loving this collab we're all doing.
Me too. So, yep, there we go. That's the finalization of what Chant has done. Amazing work. She did the whole first episode sculpting, and then now this, as well as stories. And, you've been also running all the contracts or helping out with that. So, I mean, a whole bunch of stuff happening here from Chant's part. Really appreciate all of that. And then we're gonna put me to work in the next episode. I mean, I've been doing all the production and the videos and stuff, so everything you guys are watching has been definitely keeping me busy. We're already on this would be episode 10, so it's crazy. So I managed to get 10 of these videos out to you guys, and now going into 11 and 12, you will see my Let's Builds, and there's probably a total of 15 hours of building squished down into 2 nice 40-minute videos or something. And we built up Fairground Farms pretty quickly there, and at the time of this recording, still got a little bit more to do. So we're gonna get through it, and it's moving very, very fast. It is. Right.
It's great work, and I'm loving all the contributions that people are all these blueprints you guys are making are incredible.
Oh yeah, couldn't do it without you guys.
Definitely couldn't do it without you guys, and it's making the blueprint spotlights better than ever before, because in the past it's like, this is sci-fi, let's check it out, and then it's just close that book and move on. Whereas this, it's like, no, this book has another chapter, right? And I love that about this project. So
this sculpting that you've done is just outstanding.
Yes, I agree, 100%. Couldn't do it without you, Chant. So really good stuff. All right, there you go, guys. That's gonna do it for this episode of Let's Build. Stay tuned for the next one, where you guys will get to see me blocking out Fairground Farms. Thank you so much for joining me, Webb and Chant.
Yep.
Oh, I enjoyed tagging along.
And check out Chant's YouTube channel. She does a lot of amazing videos, as you guys can see from this one here. If you like this, go check out her channel. Links are down in the description below. Boom. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.